Today we'll be learning chapter 13, Light and Shadow. In this chapter we'll be learning the sources of light, what are shadows, how are shadows formed, and the uses of light and shadow. Before we get into the chapter, let's warm up. Rory and his little brother Corey love to play in the park. But every evening Corey becomes scared and thinks that the shadows keep following them wherever they go. Do you know why your shadows keep following you? Light is a form of energy. Some objects produce light and it helps us to see things. We can say it is the brightness that comes from sun, fire, or electric bulbs. The natural light that we get is from the sun. Sunlight makes things visible to us. During the night, we are in the dark. We cannot see things as there is no light. When the sun rises, its light helps us to see all the things around us. Here's a tidbit for you. Light travels at a speed of around 300,000 kilometers per second. The light that we see here on Earth actually left sun about 10 minutes ago. The sun is the only source of natural light. Even moonlight is not its own light. The moon reflects the light of the sun in the night. You can see that the brightness increases as the day passes. The sunlight is the brightest at noon and the least at dawn or dusk. The other sources of light are all man-made. Some of them are fire, candle, lantern, tube light, and bulb. In the olden days, man relied only on sunlight to see things around him. During the night time or cloudy weather, man cannot see things around him, so it was difficult to work. So man worked only during daytime. When man discovered fire, he was able to work at night and inside his cave. Later, we found better ways to illuminate our houses and surroundings. Where there is light, there is also a shadow. A shadow is an area of darkness that is created when an object blocks the light. Shadows form in the opposite direction in which the light is coming. When an object blocks the light from passing through them, it creates an area of darkness. This area of darkness is called a shadow. The size and shape of a shadow depends on how bright the light is, in which direction the light is falling on the object, and the size of the object. The shadow also depends on the object blocking the path. Light can pass through glass. Some objects like paper, cloth allow some light to pass through. Thick objects block the light completely. Transparent objects are objects that allow light to pass through them completely. Examples are glass, water, and air are transparent objects. The cleaner the air or water, the more transparent they are. Translucent objects are objects that allow only some part of light to pass through them. Examples are butter paper, thin cotton, thin layer of plastic, etc. Opaque objects are the objects which completely block the light from passing through them. Most objects around us are opaque. Examples of opaque objects are sofa, chair, and a book. As you can see, the length and direction of the shadow changes as the day progresses. During the sunrise and sunset, the light falls at an angle. The tree blocks more light. This makes the shadow long. At noon, the sun is directly above us, so the shadow is very small. Again, at sunset, the shadow of the tree is long. At sunrise, the shadow is falling towards the west, and at sunset, it is towards the east. Did you know? Astrophysicists use shadows to locate distant heavenly bodies. Sometimes things are not visible as they are distant or very tiny, but all things cast shadows. So the scientists also look for shadows, which means that there is an object somewhere. Let's explore. Take a torch and a candle. Go into a room. Switch off all the lights and make the room dark. Using the torchlight, cast shadows of objects of different shapes and sizes. See the kind of shadows that they form. Then use the candlelight. Is there any difference in the shadows? Take notes and discuss in class. Here's a science top-up for you. The study of light is called optics. Let's think. Do you know how people told time before clocks were invented? They used a sundial. Do you know what a sundial is and how does it work? A sundial is an instrument that shows the time by the shadow of a pointer cast by the sun onto a plate marked with the hours of the day. In the ancient times, when there were no clocks, time was calculated according to the length of the shadows under the sun. But this is not a precise. So a sundial was made which has a triangle-shaped pointer and markings which are made denoting the hours. This instrument is placed in place of ample sunlight and no other shadow should be falling on the instrument. As the day passes, the sun rays change direction. The shadow following on the sundial also moves, so that the shadow is on different markings at different times of the day. As these markings are hourly markings, we will know the time at that point of the day. Here is the glossary of the chapter. Visible means the things that we can see. Illuminate means to brighten with light. Diffused light is the light which is not bright but is dull and scattered. Let's look at the mind map of the chapter. Light. Light is a visible form of energy. It makes surroundings visible. We have different sources of light. The sun is the natural source of light. Fire, candle, diya, bulb, lantern, tube light, etc. are all man-made sources of light. Objects. Objects are of three types: transparent objects, translucent objects, and opaque objects. Transparent objects allow light to pass through. Translucent objects diffuses the light. Opaque objects is where the light is blocked.